Conferences are essential to academia. There are thousands of academic conferences taking place every year globally. Academic conferences offer numerous benefits, such as networking opportunities, career advancement, exposure to state-of-the-art research, and the chance to present your own work for feedback and recognition. Even though there exist some problems and concerns about academic conferences, many researchers consider them the most valuable events. Let's try to understand the benefits of academic conferences and see why they are still playing a key role in academia. Hi everyone, my name is Andrey. I'm a researcher at Imperial College London. Throughout my career, I have attended 5 large academic conferences. Plus, I have also attended multiple other research events like summer schools, research days, symposiums, and so on. For example, this summer I traveled to Paris, France to attend one of the best and most prestigious conferences in my field, Power System Computation Conference, PSCC. The conference lasted for 5 days, and during those days I was thinking a lot about the way conferences are working. I see many things that I like in academic conferences, but also I see some contradictions, problems, and things that can be improved. When I was preparing to talk about benefits and problems of academic conferences, I wrote a list of points I want to discuss, and then I realized that this list is too long, so I decided to split my discussion into 2 videos. First, in this video, I will mostly focus on benefits of academic conferences. We will discuss why such events are still very valuable for researchers and why you should probably attend a few conferences in your career. Then, in the next video, I will focus on problems and things I don't like about conferences. And not only I will complain and talk about negative things, I will suggest some advice and solutions, especially for students and young researchers. So we will discuss what to do to avoid potential problems. Plus, I want to share some photos from my conferences with you and tell you some funny stories. So let's begin. Before jumping to the benefits of academic conferences, let's first define the context. Let's define what academic conference is nowadays in 2024. And I prepared a few points that I want to discuss with you to show you how different academic conferences could be. And the first point that I want to mention is that there are a lot of conferences taking place globally every year. I couldn't find a single reliable number showing how many conferences we have in total, but for example, I work in electrical engineering, and the main international body governing conferences is called IEEE. And on the IEEE website, I found that in total, they sponsor around 2,000 annual conferences and events, which is really a large number. So if you consider all fields and sum up all possible conferences, we can get a number like tens of thousands of conferences held annually in the world. So academic conferences is a big business and a major part of academia. Active researchers travel all the time. Many of them travel several times per year to attend events in different cities and countries. And as a student, you will probably also travel at least a few times to attend academic conferences. The next point I want to tell you is that conferences are very different in size. We can say that there are small conferences with as little as 100 attendees. Then we have medium-sized conferences with several hundreds of attendees and large events with thousands of attendees. Again, from my experience, in 2019, I traveled to Seattle, United States, to attend a very large conference in Forms. And on the conference website, I found that that year, the total number of attendees was 7,300. So it's really a massive conference. And depending on the size of the conference that you attend, you can have very different experience. Sometimes it will be a very niche event and you will easily talk to other colleagues. And sometimes there will be 7,000 of people and you will not be able to find anyone you know in the crowd. The next important thing to mention about conferences is the difference between oral sessions, oral presentations, and poster sessions. In poster sessions, there is a hall full of people and posters, usually hundreds of posters, and researchers stand in front of their posters for 1 or 2 hours, and they are ready to talk about their research to anyone who is passing by interested in their work. Oral sessions are classical presentations. You get on the stage and you have like 15 minutes to present your slides, and then there are a few minutes for questions and answers. Personally, I don't like poster sessions. I know that some academics say that they may be useful and you may get very deep discussions with a few people passing by, but this simply never happened to me. All my poster sessions were very noisy, chaotic, overcrowded, and I never got any useful discussions. Therefore, I would rather prefer to give an oral presentation instead of participating in a poster session. In my opinion, many conferences use poster sessions as a trick to fit more people in, to get more attendees who can present in a limited space. So I don't quite like this. And probably you know TED Talks, these great events where a few very prepared speakers pitch their research. I enjoy watching TED Talks a lot, and I think this is a cool type of event. Now imagine if you put many TED Talk presenters in a hall in front of their posters and you ask them to pitch their research. I think they will not be able to deliver their ideas properly. That's why I think that oral sessions and oral presentations are always better than poster sessions. Unfortunately, as attendees, as let's say students, young researchers, we cannot decide where to present, and we simply get a schedule of a conference and we need to agree with it and participate in a session. But if possible, as I said, I would recommend you to participate in oral sessions and make classical presentations with your slides. Next, it is important to know that there are good, prestigious conferences and low-quality conferences. And the problem is that sometimes it is difficult to draw the line here and distinguish them. Usually, good conferences have high demand, so many people try to apply for them, submit their papers, and present. And since the demand is higher than the capacity of a conference, not everyone is getting accepted. So some really prestigious conferences, they have acceptance rate of 10-20%. For example, I have read about machine learning conferences like New Rips. They seem to have 20% acceptance rate, and they really don't accept everyone. They have very rigorous review system with multiple rounds, and this means that this is a high-quality conference. On the contrary, there are low-quality conferences that don't really care about the review process. In the next video, by the way, I will discuss the problem of predatory conferences. And in such event, basically anyone can be accepted without review, and anyone can present just to get this new line in the CV and new publication. And of course, I would recommend you to avoid such conferences. And as I said, it's important to know that all conferences have different prestige levels and different quality. One more feature of academic conferences is that some conferences are annual and others are biennial, meaning that they're happening once in 2 years. And usually biennial conferences are more prestigious and more competitive. The next point I want to mention is that people plan attending academic conferences far in advance. For example, you have to submit your manuscript to the conference system 3, sometimes even 6 months in advance. And this means that attending conferences is a really long-term activity for many academics, and they are constantly planning their research and tasks revolving around all these events. Now, let's talk about the benefits of academic conferences. And the first benefit I want to discuss is networking opportunities. You see, conferences are a great way to meet researchers, discuss your research with others, meet some experts, get recognition for presenting your work, etc. And all of these can lead to great future collaborations. Here, as an example, I want to tell you a story of how I met one very important researcher in 2019 at PowerTech conference in Milan. And the story actually started a long time ago, where I was doing literature review for my thesis, and I want to show you how the review looks like. This is the citation network that I built for my literature review. We see many interconnected papers relevant to the topic of security-constrained power flow. And when exploring this network, I found many important papers written by Florin Capitanescu. So you can see here paper State of the Art and Challenges review paper. We see another paper. So I really found many useful papers, and I remembered this name. And then during the conference, I attended the session where Florin Capitanescu was presenting his work, and after the session, I came to him and said that I know your papers, I have read many of your works, I really like them. So we shook hands, and since then we were collaborating, even writing some papers together and so on. So this is an example of how you can meet different people, one of the best researchers in your fields, and potentially you can collaborate with them. Again, from my experience, I have met so many people from different parts of the world. I have collaborated with people from US, Australia, Chile. One more example I want to tell you is that this summer in PCC conference, I talked to one professor from Hong Kong University, and we had some nice discussions, and they actually said that they're ready to invite me to be an intern to visit their group in Hong Kong. I'm not sure if I have time right now, I'm quite busy, but maybe in the future I will visit their group. And I mean, all of this shows that networking is really important at conferences, and this can lead to great opportunities for you. For example, at one conference, one professor told me that that day was his birthday, and I got invited to a birthday party where I met many interesting people and had some collaborations. There are other stories, people going to clubs, bars, some outside activities, and so on. So this shows that conferences are really a nice place for networking opportunities. These networking opportunities lead us to the next benefit of academic conferences, which is career advancement. You see, conferences are very important to advance your academic career, and they are critical when you are applying for a research position. For example, from my experience, I got hired as research associate here at Imperial College London. And then I was discussing this with my manager, and we talked about the fact that they were checking people I know. So they were approaching referees and other people to see the feedback, if I'm a good researcher or not. And this happens a lot and everywhere. It is very risky for a university to hire someone they don't know and they can't get any feedback about. That's why whenever universities announce new professor or research positions, they try to get as much feedback as possible from referees and from famous people in the field. And that's why it's important to build your research network, so next time you apply for a position, you can easily get some positive feedback, and many people in the field can confirm that you are doing a great work and they have seen you in conferences. Sometimes career advancement may come as a surprise. I mean, you are not applying for a position and collecting feedback, but career opportunity just comes to you unexpectedly. And I heard stories of people getting invited to become a chief editor of journals because someone saw their presentation many years ago. So imagine one day someone can approach you and offer you a great job because they saw your work many years ago at a conference. And this again shows the benefits of attending conferences and building your research network. One more benefit of academic conferences is publication that you get after attending the conference. In many events, to apply for a conference, you need to prepare a manuscript and submit it. And some conferences will publish this manuscript in the conference proceedings. Other conferences have collaborations with good journals, and they will publish this as a special session in a journal, which is usually better for you as a young researcher because you will get a journal publication. Please note that some conferences, they publish literally nothing. I participated in such events where you travel, you present, discuss your work with others, and then you go home and there is no publication involved at all. So this is a benefit of academic conferences, that sometimes you can get conference publication or journal publication, but please be cautious about this and check conference website to see if you will get any publication from the event. And actually here I want to show you an example, again from this PCC conference in France that I attended this summer. The conference website clearly stated that all proceedings will be published in a journal. And since I participated in the conference, my paper was accepted, I got my journal publication, and I want to show you how it looks like. This is my paper presented at the conference, and you can see here on the right that this is part of special issue proceedings of the 23rd Power Systems Computation Conference. So the manuscript is indeed published as a journal paper, and of course it is great for me to have one more journal publication. In the next video, we will talk in detail about the problem of limited impact of academic conferences. But one solution to this limited impact is your potential publication. because people will eventually forget your slides and your speech. But if you publish a journal paper or conference paper as part of the event, this will remain online forever, and this will help you to further disseminate your research and make some impact. So it's a great benefit of academic conferences whenever you have an accompanying publication as part of the conference. Another important benefit of academic conferences is getting new experience. And there are different types of experience that you may get. For example, experience of presenting in front of others, talking to some experts, discussing your work, getting feedback, and so on. Also, experience of listening. There is a chance that you will meet the best experts in your field, and you may discuss their research and your own work. Usually, people present some recent research, some work in progress at conferences. And this may be a great experience for you to see this cutting-edge research and some very fresh ideas from your colleagues. A separate point that I want to mention is getting feedback. And this is a tricky point because sometimes you can get immediate feedback and sometimes you can get delayed or implicit feedback. By immediate feedback, I mean that you can get useful questions or suggestions right after your presentation. Sometimes, however, feedback comes with a delay. It happened to me that I got some emails from attendees many months later, asking some additional questions, suggesting collaborations, and so on. Sometimes I had cases where people were talking about me, about my research, but with someone else, with some colleagues. So as I say, conferences have this benefit that you may get feedback, but sometimes it may be delayed. The last benefit of academic conferences that I want to mention is travel. And I know that for many researchers, this is the favorite point, because this is the chance for you to see the world, to travel to many cities, countries, get some tours, speak to people, etc. So you get a lot of touristic experience as part of the conference experience. For example, as postdoc and PhD student, I traveled a lot, and I'm really grateful to my supervisors who helped me to secure funding for these trips. To give you an idea, I traveled in many countries in Europe as a PhD student. I also traveled to the US, Japan, Chile, and many other places. And this was really a great opportunity for me to get experience from conferences and from other countries as a tourist. To finish this video on a high note, I want to share with you some photos from my recent conference in France, and I want to show you the vibe of the conference and things you may expect from attending a great academic conference. This is a picture of one cathedral near Paris, and I want to show this because many conferences, they include some tours as part of the event. For example, here we were taken to this place by several buses, and we had an opportunity to have this tour to enjoy this city and this beautiful cathedral. This is a photo of me near the cathedral with some famous professors. On the left, David Pozo, my PhD supervisor, and in the middle, Professor Rodrigo Moreno from Chile. We know each other, we have some collaborations, and it was nice to meet during the conference and talk to each other and have fun. Here I want to show you how dinners and social events looked like. So they were not in some simple restaurants or cafes. We literally had events in some castles and villas. So here you can see champagne served in the backyard of a castle, and actually the whole castle was rented. I even have a video of this social event, so you can see that you are entering the castle. Many people are walking, chatting already, and inside the castle the food is served. So overall, this is a very nice, relaxed atmosphere. So people eating, drinking, and you can approach literally anyone, any senior professor, any manager, and you can have some useful academic discussions, or you can discuss literally anything. So that's why I like conferences, that they create these opportunities to talk to anyone about anything. The conference itself, of course, was not in a castle. It was in University Paris-Saclay. This is the photo of all attendees standing in the meeting hall. You may see here how the event looked like. Of course, here all participants are together, but then during parallel sessions, they were splitting into multiple rooms discussing different topics. Here I even took a picture of a funny, very small micro burger, and yeah, such burgers were served in the castle. I hope you enjoyed these photos from my recent conference. Today we focused on the bright side of academic conferences. We discussed the benefits for your networking, career advancement, experience, and so on. However, in the next video, I will focus on the dark side and discuss many serious problems of academic conferences. Please let me know in the comments your experience of attending conferences and if you have any other relevant questions. See you in the next video. Bye.